What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as Ridemyavatar, and today we're going to be over my top 5 picks for BT07's Next Adventure cards that are just really strong and amazing cards going forwards. So let's dive right into my picks and let's see what I choose and what your top 5 cards might be. Let me know down in the comments and I would love to hear. So let's talk about it. We have none other than my first top 5 pick is the Hybrid Tamers. I know this is more than one card, and this is probably called cheating. You guys want to call me out for it, but I think these revolutionized the game in a way that most decks needed. It allowed you to use beneficial tamers, especially their 3 costs. They're a lot cheaper. They don't set your memory up, but they gave an amazing inheritable effects. Let's even go over like Takuya literally gave you an extra security check if you reached 1000 DP or more. This Digimon gets plus 2000 DP, and it gave it power and everything like that, but it also gave you the ability to warp into your Emperor Greymon with everything in trash, which that's huge because it just makes your deck a lot more nastier. Because what deck just doesn't lose out resources? You're killing off a lot of stuff in red. It just synergized really well. You know, Koji did the same thing, but from hand for the Magna Garurumon, but also had an amazing inheritable. So when in effect adds a card to your hand, gain 1 memory. This Digimon cannot be blocked for the turn, shutting down anybody trying to block you out. And with that, you kind of lose out on blockers in this format. That's why a lot of people stopped playing them, because there was just so many decks that could just get around a blocker. You know, JP even on himself is piercing, while this Digimon, you know, and also when this Digimon digivolves into a green Digimon, this Digivolution cost is reduced by 1. That's huge, being able to reduce costs and doing green stuff. They all synergized with their corresponding deck. You know, Konochi did trigger draw 1 and then trash 1 card from your hand. On deletion, gain a memory. You know, everything that purple wants to do. And then let's be honest, the 2 notoriously most broken hybrid tamers even to date is got to be Tommy, even though let's be honest, Tommy was probably the most hated one out of the group. But on play, trash the bottom 3 cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. That's huge, making it. But what's nastier is when attacking once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon without a Digi-Evolution card cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. Allowing your hybrids, especially Tommy's evolutionary line, to not only shut off your opponent's blockers and attackers, it just made it so your opponent is stun locked. This is one of the major contributors to the stun lock minus Ice Wall, and that is huge for that deck, and it's ridiculously strong, and most people will be thrown off by this Tommy because it's going to hurt them more than any other tamer in this set. Next, we had Zoe, which really nasty little card, because on play, you may search your security stack for 1 card with hybrided 10 warriors in a straight, reveal it, add it to your hand. To add a card, if you added a card to your hand, recovery +1. But what was nasty for her is opponent's turn, all your security Digimon gets plus 3000 DP. So making it harder for your opponent to kill your Digimon off, especially if you digivolved into Zoe for one of the hybrids, especially Jet Sylphie, allowing you to then draw recovery +1 and then have a beefy security is nasty, because Zoe is just that powerful at times. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at building decks this format. The hybrid tamers are a really high must, but they are our number 5 because there are a lot better cards in the set. Let's go into our number 4 slot. Number 4 has to be the Eismon. Eismon Scatter Mode alone could just take it up, but I think Eismon and Eismon Scatter Mode are tandem cards that just go hand in hand and just you cannot have this deck without them. So first off, Scatter Mode on deletion, draw 3, then trash 2 cards your hand. You're fueling deck space that really most purple decks didn't have this deep dig. Draw 3 and then trash 2. What? This is pretty much a level 4 with a champion that is intended to die. This is basically what you were doing at ultimate level, but sooner. So on deletion, it dies. Then you would take and just toss the Digimonn. So when you trash this card in your hand using one of your effects, this, if an Digimonn scatter mode is in your trash, you may play this card without paying its memory. You may play this card without paying its memory cost, which is huge because that cycles out the body you lost. And the more Digimonns you have, the wider board you get. And now your opponent's really in hot water quickly because the more you toss during that, the more it checks, and then boom, you have a full board of Digimonns out that just makes it so unfair for your opponent to deal with because now they have to kill off more Digimon that they weren't prepared for. Your turn, for each scattered mode in your trash, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP and they get bigger. So if you had 2, that's 9 DP, 3, that's 11, and then you had 13 bodies on 4. That's huge, especially just because you just tossed this in the trash and one scatter mode was there, and that's nasty. It just gets beefier and beefier. So the Digimonns are really nasty card combinations that, yes, this is why we kind of get a nerf in them. They're just such a floodgate that people just couldn't keep up with it, and it was just so fast paced for purple. And then let's talk about it. Digimonn introduced a very interesting way of doing things. Was when digivolving and when attack comboed in for the first time. So, but also you had Susanamon chaos mode. So once per turn, you may return one Digimon card with hybrid in its form from the Digimon's Digi-Evolution cards to your hand to return one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as this card to its owner's hand. Keep that in mind, that being able to bounce depending on level, but what's nastier is once per turn when your hand is increased by an effect, unsuspend one of your Digimon. So you had to lose your hand for Koji to warp into this Digimonn anyway, but you get to bring your hand back and use it again and again, which really proves and paves the way for multiple swings, pouncing things that just were in the way that might threaten you. So most times if they even had blockers, it didn't matter because you were just removing the threat. So keep that in mind when you're building your deck. Digimonn is still nasty. Yes, we have a stun lock blue, but we have Digimonn here just being a boss. Don't forget these kind of cards when you're trying to build decks, that there are still really nasty cards. They might seem slower, but now with all the hits with, you know, Mega Fusion and other things like that, just really paved the way for the set. Let's talk about it. Susanamon, oh my goodness. Yes, he was a terror because of the Mega Digimon Fusion. That's why I got banned. But it's still a fantastic card because all hybrid decks play a huge amount of tamers. If they lose them by deletion and stuff like that, it gave you an alternative win con. By placing a total of 10 cards that are tamers or Digimon with hybrids in their form from your hand or trash to the bottom of your deck, you may digivolve this card in your hand into a tamer as if the tamer is a level 6 Digimon. So it'll cost 7, but that's fine. Fusion made it cost 1, but this card is nasty because 2 security checks on his own, 15,000 DP. So that means 3 security checks. Sorry, got security plus 2, and basically 3 security checks on his own. Early game, if that cleared out 3 things, your opponent was shut down because Mega Fusion just shut him down hard. When digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. That made this deck really powerful, and it works with all the hybrid decks. It's just not one. Every hybrid deck could play this, or any deck can be if you just timed it right. It would cost you 7 to digivolve into it, but that's fine for a lot of decks. They didn't care that they had to pay extra for it, and it just made sense. Susanamon is my number 4 slot, and I think we should talk about number 1, Susanamon Chaos Mode. So your Lusamons can digivolve into this card in your hand for a memory cost 7, ignoring the Digievolution requirements. That's cool. So that yellow Lusamon that you've had out on the board that came in for cheap can now digivolve into Chaos Mode and then do its on play or when digivolving. Delete one of your opponent's level 6 Digimon, or you can go straight for that Tamer's Throat and get rid of it. Really nasty card. It combos so well with its option, which is called, if I remember correctly, is called Ultimate Sacrifice, or in English we have a different name, but play one purple level 5 Digimon from the trash without paying its memory cost. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play one Digimon with Lusamon in its name without paying its memory cost instead. So basically, either you get to play the yellow Lusamon, or you get to play the purple Lusamon at all times. So making it so much more threatening that your opponent really didn't have options to deal with it. So play and just being able to pop anything. But what's really nasty is Lusamon Chaos Mode gets cheaper as the game goes on. So once you get 10 cards in trash, he's now 11 play. If you get 20 cards in trash, what does that mean? He's 8 to play. If you get 30 cards in trash, he's 5 to play. So he gets threatening as the game state goes longer, and the longer you go with Lusamon Chaos Mode, the scarier he is. So guys, what did you think of my top 5? I think they're amazing picks. I know that this seems like it's the top 10 by just having the Tamers alone in there and the Izmons, but guys, I think you cannot disregard this combos and stuff like that. So let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you next video. Peace.